The European Enlightenment, the philosophical movement that criticized the monarchy, such as the king or queen, and the theocratic mystics who forced their supernatural beliefs onto everyone and would house arrest you for disagreeing with them and proving them wrong when it came to scientific facts. The Enlightenment criticized those things, criticized the idea of worshiping a supernatural being because you are inferior, or worshiping the king because he's the divine ruler. The European Enlightenment championed reason, human rights, and individualism. Now, an example of some of these systems as governments, for example, the theocracy. The theocracy is forcing mystic supernatural beliefs onto everyone else and putting it into law and arresting people or even killing people for disagreeing with those supernatural beliefs. Now, the democracy is majority rule. Majority rule is tyranny of the majority, basically. It means no matter how stupid something is, in a democracy, people vote for it. It can be stupid, it can be the most evil thing. People will vote for it because that's what the majority says. That's the majority rule, is a democracy. Then the monarchy is worshiping a king or a queen as the system of government. But what these systems have in common is that they are against humans. They are against human rights. They want humans to believe in something that they consider superior. These people try to hold a superiority and tell every human that they are inferior, to worship the king, to worship the supernatural being, and the Enlightenment stood against that. Enlightenment philosopher John Locke stood for human rights and liberty. He is known for the philosophy of classical liberalism, him and a few other philosophers. But John Locke said, us as humans, we are born with rights. We are born with natural rights. We have the right to life, liberty, and property, is the philosopher John Locke. Adam Smith, the father of economics, he created an economic system where human rights are protected and all property is privately owned, and humans are free to voluntarily trade with each other. That system is called capitalism. But thousands of years before John Locke and Adam Smith, there was the great important philosopher Aristotle. His philosophy is that the purpose of life is human flourishing, and the way to accomplish human flourishing is living a life through reason. Because humans are rational beings, and reason is the way humans survive and live a virtuous life. The American Revolution. The men of the 13 colonies wanted freedom, so they rebelled against the British monarchy for their freedom and led to a new country and a new government. America the Republic, because America is not a democracy. America is a republic. Democracy is majority rule, a dictatorship, tyranny of the majority. But the purpose of the American government was to protect individual rights, which is the proper functions of government. That's why they made America the Republic. Our republic is not a perfect system because we moved away from it, but its original purpose was to protect individual rights, provide law and order, and, you know, protect human rights. But in this republic, There are slight democratic elements because there is the popular vote and the electoral vote. The electoral vote is very necessary because the popular vote can be very stupid at times. Actually, a lot of times. That is why America is a republic. Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence, took influence from John Locke. John Locke said life, liberty, and property. Thomas Jefferson said life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which was included in the Declaration of Independence. The Articles of Confederation was too weak, so James Madison wrote the Constitution because he understood the proper functions of government. The proper functions of government is to protect us from criminals. The purpose of the Constitution is to protect us from the government. That's why our government is kept limited with checks and balances. And there's also the Bill of Rights that protects our civil liberties and rights as humans and individuals. The Bill of Rights is one of the reasons why the United States is morally superior, such as our right to freedom of speech, our right to bear arms, our right to a fair trial. It all comes from the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights recognizes the importance of our rights and the moral superiority of liberty. Capitalism, the economic system that the United States was founded on, a system of private property, because the founding fathers recognized that private property is a part of human rights, because you need humans to own property. If you don't have private property, then you don't have human rights. The Industrial Revolution, an economic time where humans were free to trade with each other and industries were on the rise. The standard of living improved, and America was becoming the freest country, the most capitalist country on earth. Though not fully capitalist or 100% capitalist, but the Industrial Revolution was a great time, and it was the closest thing to free market capitalism. One of the great industrialists of the Industrial Revolution was John D. Rockefeller, an American hero. He improved the standard of living by creating his industry, Standard Oil, which made so many people's lives better. Standard Oil was never a monopoly, by the way. Standard Oil was a very efficient business, and John D. Rockefeller was a smart, intelligent man. During that time, Americans truly had freedom. Americans had the most freedom. Americans were innovators, industrialists. The American people were kind, goodwill, benevolent people. That time was the closest thing to a benevolent universe. There was no welfare state, and there was never a need for a welfare state. Americans looked out for their neighbors and looked out for each other because of private property, private industries, and private charity is what built strong communities of individuals and morally superior people.